And one of the other things I'm working on, and I'm not really doing anything on it, I went ahead and got the 2,000 pound Wipline gross weight increase. And I didn't, when I bought the airplane from Cub Crafters, it had all of the stuff in the airplane for the 2,000 pound gross weight increase. But it was going on Edo floats, and that's all I ever fly it on, is on Edo floats. And the STC didn't cover Edo floats, so it wasn't worth getting at the time. But they've gone ahead and got it certified now on Edo floats, so I bought the gross weight kit. It was, $4,000. Well, it was $300 and some just for the flight plan manual supplement, and that's about 3 pages of stuff. But anyway, I got it. Everything's already in the wings, and the fuselage was built with it, and I don't have to do anything to the landing gear because I don't run wheel gear on it. I went ahead and made a photocopy of the flight manual and the STC so I could have working copies of it here in the shop while I was working on the airplane. The main thing I need out of that now is the speeds. The airspeed indicator speeds change with the 2,000 pound gross weight increase. Basically what changes on it is the stall speed. Instead of being 40 some miles an hour, they moved the stall speed up to 53. And the stall speeds, the markings on the airspeed indicator and the stall speeds, the low numbers are based on the airplane at gross weight. It doesn't really change the stall speed on the airplane light, or if you're operating at the 1,750 pounds or whatever the original aircraft weight was on it. But when you're at 2,000 pounds, then that bumps the stall speed up to 53 miles an hour. So anyway, I need to order a new airspeed indicator, and that's what I needed, was the markings for the airspeed indicator, so I could have it put on when I order the airspeed indicator. I got the beads in the fuel lines where they go up into the wing root, and that pretty much finishes the fuel lines, except for this one line that goes between the inside of the fuel pump and the belly tank here. And I found a line that already had a pretty good 90 in it. It's got to come out there and 90 and then go up to the intake out of the fuel tank. And I found one that was pretty good shape that already had a 90 in it, and I cut it off and routed it through here. Had to make a couple of bends in it to clear these lower crossbars on the fuselage. So they'll clear that, and there'll be another bend down. And then this is where the outlet for the fuel tank is. And this has a bulkhead fitting on it, and it's a number 8, and then there's a reducer to number 6 here. But I'd taken this under seat storage out to get enough room in there to get that line in there to work that, and to see make sure it fit. And there's plenty of clearance on the line underneath the under seat storage once I get everything in there. But this setup that they had out of the factory, out of air glass for the fuel tank, that was not going to work. That thing is too tall with that bulkhead fitting and then a reducer for the number 6, and I was looking for an elbow to go from the number 8 to the number 6, and I thought I had one, but I couldn't find it, so I'm going to have to order just a 90 bulkhead fitting. I got the last piece of my fuel lines made up. I've got one more piece to do, and that's the firewall for the fuel line to go into the gascolator, but I've got to wait till I put the firewall on and mount the gascolator up before I can make it up or finish it up. But this is the last bit of it here. I got the piece to come out of the fuel tank. I've got it set up, and I finished up this line from the fuel tank to the fuel pump. They originally had on the fuel pump tank for the outlet is this number 8 bulkhead fitting that goes down through there. There'd be a nut on the inside of it, and there was a big washer here on the outside of it, and then there's a 1/2 inch copper pickup tube that runs off of this. It hooks into this bulkhead fitting and then runs down to the bottom of the tank. And but this is what came out of the tank. And then this adapter, this reducer from number 8 to number 6 was on the top and then they just cut a hole in the bottom of the fabric here and come up underneath the back seat with the fuel pump here. And the airplane, as it came from Cub Crafters, it had an underseat storage compartment, so they had a big hole in the storage compartment there for this fuel line to come out and hook into the fuel pump. I put the fuel pump back over here underneath the rear baggage compartment instead of underneath the seat, putting a new underseat storage compartment in on this too, and that thing takes up a lot of space in there, and I just didn't like having the things rattling around underneath the seat, the possibility of rubbing a hole in the fuel line or bumping into the electrical circuit there, maybe shorting out or causing a problem there with the electrics on the fuel pump. Now, I tried a couple different things on that to get it to fit. Of course, this straight bulkhead fitting with it in there, and then with this adapter on, that comes up and interferes with the bottom, the underseat storage compartment. It runs into it. So I tried a couple of different things. One, I got cheap and I ordered a bulkhead fitting off of eBay, and it came. It was okay, but it's a number 12 or something instead of a number 8, so it was way too big, so that was kind of a waste of effort. And then I tried this elbow here. You couldn't get one to go from a number 8 to a number 6, but this one would have gone here on this straight fitting and made it into an elbow, but it still wound up being just a little bit high. I just got a 90 bulkhead fitting, and I went ahead and put the number 8 to number 6 adapter on there and got that fuel line on. So that's the last of the main fuel system. Like I said, I still have to hook into the gas collator on the firewall, and I still have to rig up the vent line that goes between the left side and the right side that kind of hooks into the fuel gauges. So I still have to do the fuel gauges and that vent line, but this is the main fuel system, and it's all set up now. So I can take this loose here and leave this hard line in here loose, and then when we fabric the airplane, then we get it all done, then we can get this fuel tank set up. We can just put the fuel tank up in here and hook it all up, and we'll be good to go.